So the last step here is to communicate your results. Typically, this is when you would put your big PowerPoint show together and everything, and that's why we did this in PowerPoint. So really, the communication is just you tying up those last little loose ends and explaining what you learned throughout the process. I can look through your presentation and I can see all the different steps that you've gone through, and looking at what I've gotten so far up into step 10 and 11. These things are looking really nice. You should be proud of where you got to at this point. It's a long process to kind of go through, and we had that opportunity to really expand this. We wouldn't be able to do that in a traditional setting in school. We'd have a lot more units we're trying to move through here. But this is a good way to really get through the design process, understand all those things. So you've done all the hard work at this point. You made the prototype, you made the drawings, you made the final thing, you've done research, all kinds of things as you go through the steps here. So this last little bit, if you want to add some pictures on this and make this a couple slides, you are welcome to do that, but you've got plenty of information and graphics throughout your presentation. This is really just a little written section. If it takes you 2 slides to write it, it's no problem. Just make sure you have a header there. So the first bit is explaining how well you feel your package meets the design criteria. So, looking at the final thing, and yes, we're not in the classroom, so it may not be as perfect as if you laser cut it. I understand that. You may not have used the exact materials you wanted to use at the end, but pretend, hey, I made this out of cardstock, and I'm going to say that my final one maybe was out of a thicker cardboard, so it would have protected a little bit better. That's okay. We have some leeway here. We don't have all the resources that we might have in the classroom, but looking at the product or the package you made, does it protect? Does it display? Does it do a nice job of displaying? Does it do a nice job of protecting? How'd you do with material conservation? Did you end up having a lot more glue joints and things than you thought? Did you use a really large piece and maybe it wasn't as clean? I'm not going to take points off for that. I just want you to explain, hey, I think maybe I should have oriented these panels slightly differently so that maybe it fit on a smaller sheet. And then ease of assembly. How did that go for you? Was it difficult to actually get this thing glued together and get all the little tabs to fit together? Again, you explain yourself here. It's not that you're going to lose points if it was more difficult. I just want you to see how well that process worked out for you. So in 2 to 3 sentences, the next point, and that top one, that's worth 10 points. You're going to write 3 to 4 sentences about that, maybe longer if you want. You're going to explain the problems you had. Then some of those problems are associated with being at home. Some of you commented you wish you had a workspace, or I don't have an X-Acto knife, I don't have a drafting table, I don't have an AutoCAD, I don't have a laser cutter. There's a lot of different problems we had working from home versus if we were in the classroom. One of them could be, you need to ask a question and maybe you got to wait 24 hours to get that response back, where in the classroom, that kind of stuff's immediate. So all those types of things, whether it's tools, software related, just the fact that you're at home, those kinds of things can go into those 2 or 3 sentences. If you want to write more, that's fine, but that'll be 5 points. Explain what went well for you. How was working on, just doing graph paper and working in PowerPoint and presenting things and working through that design process. Hopefully, some things went well for you as you went through. Hopefully you developed a little more with sketching and some problem solving. So add some of those things in there. The last thing, again, this is a little bit longer one, 3 to 4 sentences, maybe more. I want you to explain the benefits of using that engineering design process. So using these 12 steps versus if I would have given you this and said, hey, create a package for the same product, and you just went ahead and got some cardboard and started cutting things out. Looking at, okay, we looked at different ideas, we did research, and it's this methodical process that you're going through. It's not just, oh, I do this, and then I get all the way to the end, and then I scrap it and I start over again. Hopefully, because we are using all these different steps, because we are doing all these checks and refinements, it really makes the process, even though it's 12 steps, it actually makes the process faster because you're not wasting as much time creating multiple final products because you've done all the work in the beginning. So hopefully that helps you. You can always revisit the engineering design process overview in the course, but hopefully you have that understanding at this point. So again, this is just a written portion. If you want to drop a picture or two in there, you're welcome to do that, but just make sure you follow that. This will be 30 points. Upload your final presentation. Make sure for this one you also have every slide all the way filled out. You've been doing a decent job. Some of you I had to have upload some things again, but make sure all steps show up in this final one, and then you're right up at the end. And I hope you enjoyed going through the process here. I know I did. I thought it was beneficial, and I liked looking at what you've been coming up with at home. So have a good one.